So the year was 2009. I had graduated, I was working, and now it was time for me to get out and experience life. Growing up and even through high school, I knew that I had an attraction towards guys. I never really had the opportunity to tap into it because I lived with my mother. Not only did I live with my mother, but I didn't have my own transportation, so I couldn't, travel to someone else. So I finally got my own transportation and tapped into my exploration. So, because I lived in a small town filled with country motherfuckers and undercover niggas, I had no options. And so I turned to this dating site called blackgaychatlive.com. Black Gay Chat Live is where I met Johnny. We're gonna call him Johnny for non-shady purposes. Johnny and I conversed for quite some time before we actually met up. Our first date was the movie. So Johnny and I went from hanging out every now and then to always being together. So at this point, my emotions are getting involved. So I questioned Johnny on his thought process of relationships and also the direction of our friendship. Johnny's response wasn't what I was expecting. Johnny basically was like he wasn't ready for a relationship and he thought that we should take it slow. He wanted to build a friendship and I was willing to wait around for Johnny to become ready. So we continued doing what we were doing and, we grew closer and closer together, but we still had no title. So I had a hard time figuring out my expectations for Johnny because, again, we had no title. So things started to happen. Red flags started to present themselves. My instinct just would not rest. Things would happen like when we would be together, he would get phone calls and he would need to leave the room to take them. Phone calls would go unanswered and unreturned. And the things that I've just told you are the minimum, the minor things that would occur, okay? But one day I was at his place and in his bedroom in the corner there was a blanket rolled up, which was I. And I was in his kitchen and on his counter there was a receipt. So I was like cleaning off his counter and I read what was on the receipt. In reading the receipt, I see that he had purchased the night before some condoms and some lube. Mind you, he and I are not sexually active. And the night before, I asked him to go to the movies, and he said he had work to do. And the night before, I even sent him a text message, and those text messages went unanswered. So all types of shit is running through my head. I knew something was going on, and I continuously ignored my instinct. When I tell y'all throughout this time, I lost so much sleep. My entire attitude changed. I lost my appetite. I was on a fast downfall. And it was all because I knew something is going on, but I just continued to ignore it. I settled. A year and a half has passed and things are still happening, the red flags and so on. One Sunday we planned to go to church together. I had a 45-minute drive to the church. I was running late because of traffic, so Johnny went ahead and seated himself. By the time I got to church, I texted Johnny and let him know that I was there. He said that seats were full and I had to sit in the overflow. So after church, Johnny didn't tell me he was leaving. I coincidentally walked out behind Johnny. Some guy was with him. So I walk up. Johnny introduces me to this guy as his best friend. Don't you know this bitch mugged me? So I leave and I'm asking Johnny. I text Johnny. I'm like, what the fuck was her tea? Do we have a problem? So Johnny tells me no, he's like that with everyone he meets, blah, 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 blah. I almost drop kicked that bitch. So a few months pass, and of course we're still dealing with the red flags and so on and so forth. So it's a week and a half before my 21st birthday. I'm at the bowling alley with my family, and I get a text message from him. I need to talk to you. I hate messages like that, don't you? So I text him back, what's up? Call me when you leave the bowling alley. Nigga. The fuck? So me being me, I walk out of the bowling alley and I call his ass. I'm like, what's up? So he proceeds to tell me, are y'all ready for this? So he proceeds to tell me that throughout the year and a half that we have been involved, he was in a relationship. Not only was he in a relationship, but he had been in that relationship for 5 years. And they were on. Can anyone guess who he was in a relationship with for those 5 years? Guess. So yes, you guys guessed. He was in that 5-year relationship with the guy that he introduced as his best friend at church. My heart literally dropped to my toenails. I think that night I felt so many emotions. And that night I was ready to ride the fuck out, but I didn't. I had to gather myself and I had to maintain decorum. I was so hurt. And to this day, I still kind of deal with issues from it, but I've come along. So I'll leave you all with this one thing. If you're in a situation, do not ignore red flags and always go with your instinct. And please know your instinct will never, ever misguide you. I know.